A good Erev Shabbos, everyone. Erev Shabbos, Parshas Toldos. It's wonderful to be back in Eretz Yisrael, and the Shabbos today, at some point, I get out of bidud, out of isolation that we had to be in when we came back to Eretz Yisrael, and get to be back out and breathe Avira, the atmosphere, the very air of Eretz Yisrael. And I'm hoping that it does its magic and that it gives me a little wisdom. I'll tell you a beautiful thing I heard about this week's Parsha. I've been saying this for years, but it's such a magnificent idea. That we know that Yaakov and Eisav were who they were. Yaakov was an Ishtam Yoshev Olim, was a simple person, sat pure, whole, sat in the tents, learned Torah. Eisav was a person who was an Ish Sayed. He was a hunter. He did his thing, murdered, he hunted. He was involved in many, many things. Yaakov had everything going for him. Eisav seemed to have nothing spiritually going for him. But our rabbis tell us that if you look carefully at the Torah, there's one thing that Eisav had, which was incredible. And that was his ability to be mekayim the mitzvah, to fulfill the mitzvah of kibbud avim, of honoring his parents, and specifically honoring his father. And that it was legendary, the extent to which Eisav went to in order to be able to show kavod, to be able to show honor for his father. Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, the great sage Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, commented in the Medrash that even though he served his father his entire life, he didn't reach 1/100th of the kavod, of the honor that Eisav showed to his father. And one of the things that Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel pointed out is that when I served my father, I would wear regular clothes. When I would go out in public, then I would wear chashva clothes, I would wear important clothing. But Eisav, whenever he would go to his father, he would go dressed in incredible clothing that was fit for a king. Because Eisav understood what it meant to honor his parent. The Sukkah's David Kviat, asks a very simple question. What was Rabbi Shimon Gamliel saying? Eisav did it in beautiful clothes, and I didn't do it in beautiful clothes. So put on beautiful clothes. It's a quick change. It's a quick fix. If you think that Eisav did the mitzvah so beautifully because he was characterized by the fact that he would go and dress so beautifully to do the mitzvah, then go dress beautifully to do the mitzvah. What are you bemoaning? Just make the change. So he says an unbelievable thing. Yaakov was not bemoaning, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel was not bemoaning his inability to be able to wear nice clothes. What he was bemoaning was his inability to be able to muster the attitude that Eisav had. Eisav wore the clothing because of the way he felt about his parent. If he would have worn the clothing, Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, then he would have worn the clothing because that was the proper thing to do, but not necessarily because of what he felt for his father. What Rabbi Shimon Gamliel was bemoaning was the fact that look at what Eisav was able to achieve. And that he felt that he was missing the sincerity, the sensitivity, the emotion that Eisav felt for his father. And that it would have been very easy to change his clothes, but much more difficult to change his attitude. We have a similar idea that's presented in the Gemara by a lady by the name of Kimcha. She had 7 children who were Kohanim Gedolim, 7 sons that became high priests. And it says because she practiced this incredible level of tznius, of modesty. Her modesty was off the charts. And then the Talmud says that many people tried this to try to live in that level of modesty, but they had no success. It didn't necessarily translate into their children. Why was there no success? They lived on a level of modesty like Kimches. If it worked for Kimches, why didn't it work for them? Because it's not the modesty that creates Kohanim Gedolim. It's the attitude behind it. It's the whole atmosphere that's set the whole seviva, the whole thing that surrounds, that's what creates magnificent children. It's not just the doing of things, but it's the feeling of things. And that's what Rabbi Shimon Gamliel is teaching us. Eisav was a giant in Kibbutz Aveim. Not because of what he did, but because of the way he felt, the energy that he put into it. And that's something to look at. That's something to look at in our own lives. To keep Shabbos, there's a rule book. There is a method. There are things we do. There's a culture. But all of that is just what's supplied to us. All of that is just the clothing. But the energy that we put into it, the love, the preparation on Friday, the pining away for it, the waiting for that moment to come, the whole focus on Shabbos. Davening. We have a book. We have a siddur. It's got every single point that we need to approach God, and that's why it was written that way. Because we don't know how to express ourselves. The language is not something that we can use to express ourselves, and therefore the rabbis wrote it down for us. This is the script. But it's only the script. The feeling, the energy, that's what we have to place into it. Rely on the script. Use the rules. Use the book. Use the structure. You don't have to worry about creating the structure. It's been created for you. And all you have to worry about is putting in the feeling. All you have to worry about is putting in the emotion. And that's the way that we achieve greatness. Not by doing greatness, but by feeling feelings of greatness. By feeling that emotion, that closeness, that desire. That's the way we become great. And that's what we have to infuse into the avodah, into the service, into the things we do. We have to infuse not just the strictness of the structure, but we have to infuse it with a feeling, with a life, with a chiyus. And then it truly becomes something magnificent and something amazing and something inspiring, not only for us, but inspiring for everyone who sees us. Have a wonderful, beautiful, amazing Shabbos, a Shabbos of inspiration, a Shabbos of energy, a Shabbos of joy, a Shabbos where we take the structure of Shabbos and we breathe beautiful life into it. And if we're able to do it this Shabbos, we should be able to do that for every Shabbos of our lives. And God should give us the strength to be able to put that energy into every single thing we do. Have a beautiful, wonderful, amazing Shabbos.